kicking off with a colt by, I guess, what's looking to be the hottest sort of stallion prospect in Australia at the moment, Wootton Bassett. Obviously, he's had an amazing sort of start to his stud career in the Northern Hemisphere, which led to Coolmore purchasing him, standing him at stud and having his first season shuttling to Australia. He's now got the top 2 horses in line of betting for the Golden Slipper. So we were determined to find a good Wootton Bassett colt at the Magic Millions sale, and this was the only colt by that stain that we're able to, or that we wanted to buy. So thought it was a lovely example of what the stallion can do, and he's from a great international pedigree. So if he can be in that position as one of those Wootton Bassets next year, being in the first line of betting for the Golden Slipper, you'll have a very valuable prospect on your hands there. Mate, only been, I think, is this the 3rd time you've just been on her back, Johnny?
Yes, I did.
So still very early days for them. Just everything's still being done in the round yard, but you can see she's come a long way very, very quickly, and they'll progress out onto the track very shortly. But she looks very good under saddle. She's for a filly, she's a very forward and mature type. The great natural muscle tone and definition that she's got already before she's even begun the breaking process. So you can see she's a type that's sort of just really going to thrive on her work. It's going to take a fair bit of work to knock her around in the early days. I can see her being very much a jump and run filly for us, very much a Jim Crack style of filly, and that goes in line with the progeny. Written by, they're a great value stallion for us, which is why we're probably able to buy her for the price that we did. She was a couple $100,000, but on type, if she was by one of the, I guess say if she was by his sire and Written Tycoon, she's you're looking at least a sort of $500,000 to $600,000 filly on type. So that's where we find a bit of value. But as I said, with that stallion, we've had great success, particularly in the 2-year-old races. We had Straight Charge going out narrowly in the Breeders' Plate. He went on and won the Silver Slipper. This year, our Magic Millions filly, the Playwright, she was written by. She took out the $500,000 ladies bonus, just being the first filly home in the race. Unlucky not to finish in the placings. She was a debut winner and 3rd in the BJ McLaughlin in the lead-up. And the year before, we had the Novelist, who was at one point going into the Magic Millions as favourite. So it's a stallion that we love. It's sort of our little our value stallion, a bit of a niche where we have a lot of success with. But yeah, just as a type, she's a beauty.
This is her team. This is the one, I reckon, if you've come here probably on pedigree and different things, you've said to yourself, oh, like probably found other ones that you like more on pedigree or something in the book. But this is the physical. Look at her from behind here. She stands behind you, and you look at that natural muscle over her spine. See where her spine sits and how the muscles developed over that spine into that huge gaskin, wicked short cannons, wicked short pastons, so much power to weight ratio. Physically, this is what we look for when we're trying to find these sharp 2-year-old types. And if you have a look side on again, like I say, she's got, I mean, she's going to be 16 hands, Johnny, and she's got awesome length of stride, but those wicked short cannons and pastons, so she'll have a very quick turnover of stride too. I reckon she's an absolute weapon.
She's a lovely filly to do anything with, very straightforward, great constitution through the work ethic that we feed into them. She hasn't put a step wrong. She's just been thriving on everything we've pointed at, and she does it correctly every time. She hasn't put a foot wrong during her first 2 weeks so far.
Golden Slipper winner, and a son of extreme choice who's done a phenomenal job at stud himself. So looks to be a really good sire in the making. We were very keen to support his progeny heavily. There was a number of just quality athletic types and styles of horses. They, even though he's a little bit on his toe this morning, they all looked at great attitudes and just overall lovely athletic styles of horses I mentioned before. So we had a number on the list, but we honed in on this colt. Just thought he was a lovely, lovely strong individual. There's plenty of depth about him, plenty of substance. Again, one that's just got the constitution to handle the 2-year-old racing, what he looks like he's built to do. So I thought we were able to get him a good value. We had a bit of an insight, I guess. We've got the 2-year-old in the stable. She goes really like what we're seeing from her at this early stage. But most importantly, we trained the dam, our Crown Mistress, who was the most gorgeous filly that we had in training. She's a big, strong girl herself, lovely grey filly. And she's obviously thrown that through her progeny. But if he's able to pick up any of that constitution that she had, that's going to take him a long way throughout his career. So he looks a naturally tough horse. He's got the physical strength to go with that. Again, another one that you can see we're putting him through work through the early stages. This is the first group that are going through the breaking process. So they're hand selected in what we think are the more forward types, and he's certainly put his hand up for that. In order to qualify for the bonus, you need to be there at that 2-year-old race, and he's every chance of getting the ladies there for a big day out. All right, those looking for a bit of a pedigree page or a filly with a bit of residual value, this is probably a good one to, I think, hone in and focus in on. Obviously, a filly with plenty of depth to her page. Claudia mentioned before the competition around the first season sire ranks this year, and the other main contender was a horse called Home Affairs, and there's a great, I think this is one of the better examples of the styles of horses and fillies that he can throw. He just puts such strength into his horses, and again another well balanced filly, well developed filly. There's a lot of that natural muscle tone and development already at such an early stage that you can see. She was purchased off Newgate Farm, one of their long-term clients, bred this filly, but we have a lot of confidence going back to Newgate year on year. We know the manner in which they raise them. The stats and statistics are there for the number of stakes winners off the farm, and as well as the soundness, the longevity that we get from them. I think of the 4 last Golden Slippers, 2 of them have come off Newgate Farm. So like they're important stats that we look at when we go to the sales. And she's a lovely individual, lovely physical herself. So she's done very well. Again, a bit like that the previous written by filly that we brought out before. You can see her looking very good under saddle very, very early. She's going to cope with this workload, cope with the breaking in process, and we're really going to be able to carry that through the early stages of her preparation. She's got the physical strength to handle it and thrive on it, and she looks like she's certainly got that constitution. But I think the physical makeup of her, the balance that she's got, I think she's a lovely chance for us from a great family. Family, not a single doubt there. Very much a family that produces these sharp, running, precocious 2-year-old types.
We trained Mum, Blonde Intuition. She's by champion broodmare sire Reduced Choice. She sadly only had the 2 starts. We had to retire her due to injury, but she won really impressively in town on debut. And this filly, I mean, it's hard to do in front of a group of people, obviously come out and parade so professionally, but you can see she's just taking it all in. She's a very professional filly, a beautiful action and walk on her, great bone. I think she's a lovely filly in for 325,000. She's, she was really nice buying. This is a mare that probably was better than her race record reads, Adrian. Yeah, you always talk about her ability, how much natural ability she had. We've always been looking for her foals. Like we've gone to the sales trying to buy them, and we haven't found the one yet. This is by far and away the mare's best foal so far. And just have a look through that pedigree, team. Have a look where it says winner at 2. Have a look how many times you read that in the pedigree. Winner at 2, winner at 2, winner at 2. It's a great 2-year-old family, very precocious family, and of course that suits our model very well, where they're educated early by the best here at Evergreen, and they go into that Tulloch Lodge system for Gain Adrian to try and win another slipper with.
think it's probably pretty fair to say with this particular filly, she's out of a schnitzel mare, and I'd say you're getting a great deal of mum in this particular progeny. She was a nice early stakes winning 2-year-old filly, but for mine, she looks very much a lot of those qualities. She's nice, neat, well balanced type. You're probably starting to get put together a bit of a picture of the style of horse that we like now. You've seen a couple of fillies that we've brought out. You can see the similarities in the size and the shape and the physical makeup, the balance, the definition that they've got, the strength, the precocity. And again, as I mentioned when we first made this opening, I'm trying to find, we hand selected the horses that we want to see you racing successfully, see you racing early on the track and try and get to those big 2-year-old races. So it's very much a very similar mould of horse that physical that does come out each time. But I think she, once again, ticks all the boxes in that regard, even though, as I said, by a stallion you may not know as much about, but he was a very good racehorse in himself. But I think the female line here has got a fair bit to play. Looks a nice sweet type of filly. Again, just I spoke about the physical attributes, but you know, you can't forget the importance of the mental constitution that these horses have to have for us. And so far, all these fillies that have stepped out have been, they just look to be bomb-proof. They've had a great attitude. They've stepped out here. They've stood. They've posed. They've paraded. They've got their head down and just got on with the job whenever you wanted them to. And that's what we want to do when we get them into Randwick. We want them just to get on with the job and not give us any fuss. And I think all these fillies will just jump and run and do the job perfectly for you.
Stoked with her. I love, like, when you've been at the sales and you've seen horse after horse after horse, and you get here and you just love to see how they've let down. And gee, she looks good, doesn't she? King Kirk was the first horse we purchased at Magic Millions last year, and this is the first horse we purchased at Magic Millions this year. So nice to make a strong start. She's a beautiful filly. And Schnitzel is a broodmare sire. We know what he's doing now. We've seen Private Life win the Caulfield Guineas. But yeah, Private Life's out of a Schnitzel mare. Growing Empire, probably one of the most exciting 3-year-old colts in the country, out of a Schnitzel mare. So is Captured by Love, I think, who won she won the 1,000 Guineas in New Zealand this year. So lovely filly. Lots to like about her, and a filly probably that'll train on a bit too. You know, she's probably good enough to be there in the autumn as a 2-year-old for you, and she'll train on into all those lovely races as a 3-year-old for you too.
We put ourselves in a position last year where we bought a number of the progeny of Farnham, so I feel we've had great exposure to them at home. One of our, I'd say, our best 2-year-old colt this year is by Farnham in North England. He ran a very unlucky 3rd in the Breeders' Plate, and then he backed that up with a win in the Group 3 Golden Gift, $1 million race, which qualified him straight away for the Golden Slipper. He steps out at a trial. We've put him on the traditional Golden Slipper path that Farnham himself did. Going to try and emulate him, trying to win the Silver Slipper, Todman Golden Slipper, and North England's capable of doing that. So that's our best 2-year-old colt by Farnham. We've got a number of other nice horses as well. There are a couple there that Claudia may mention following up, but I'm a big believer in the progeny from what we've seen, and I think we're really able to get some value in his stock this year. We bought a number of them again. He wasn't necessarily the only one that we bought, but I thought he was the best value of the ones that we did buy. A couple $100,000. Again, we spoke of Newgate in terms of their percentage and strike rate of stakes winners to horses sold. A farm that's been equally as impressive is Segino Stud. They've got a tremendous record, and importantly, tremendous record at the highest level, which is obviously where we're all trying to get to. But he very much like his dad. Farnham was never necessarily an overly big horse or never necessarily an overly gross horse. He had a nice athletic frame to him. He always had great length to him. and I think physically very much a very similar to mould to what you're seeing and getting here. So he's out of a High Chaparral mare, a Group 3 winner over the mile. So I like seeing that in his page, that even though he looks to be a forward 2-year-old type, the pedigree suggests that he's got that little bit of scope to get over those further distances, whether it be sort of those Guineas trips as a 3-year-old as well, just to keep a few more options open for us going forward. But as I said, overall, just another nice athletic style of horse. And the fillies, they obviously come out and they're pretty well built. You don't necessarily want to see some of the colts too heavy at this early stage, and I think he's a nice refined style of horse for us. And yeah, lovely colt with good value. So and I think that's the Farnham factor, we're able to get him at that value, but off that would still be very big believers in him.
So he's a stallion we've supported heavily. We will continue to support them heavily. I think second time around, this is where you can really capitalise on value for money. I mean, 220,000. I mean, by a Golden Slipper winner out of a very good mum, obviously incredibly well bred off a great farm in Sedgenho. So really like what I see with this guy. He's improved hugely since the sale.
Team, I think Adrian and Gabe purchased 5 as top 6 sellers at the sale Farnham this year. So huge belief in the ones we've got coming through. Love the fact that he's out of that High Chaparral mare. Such a good broodmare sire. Obviously broodmare sire of Best of Bordeaux and the likes. But I love that sort of, when they've got all that speed on the sire line, I love a little bit of that, dam side where they can carry their speed over a bit more distance. You'll see like North England's out of a Lope de Vega mare. She won 4 races or 3 or 4 races at 1,400 metres to a mile. This guy's out of a High Chaparral mare again, all that more classic European stuff. She won 2 races at 1,400 metres to a mile. So just, I love that dam side being able to let a horse like this carry his speed over a little bit further. He can win us the Breeders' Plate thanks to Farnham. He can win us the Slipper thanks to Farnham, but he also train on and maybe be a Golden Rose horse, a Caulfield Guineas horse down the track as well. And you can see that little bit of scope and athleticism in his physique as well to go with his natural strength. So lovely combination, great farm, up-and-coming stallion, lovely price.
Yes, sort of going into the Magic Millions, he had, there was a good buzz around the stallion. Obviously a week after sale, there's a much bigger one with a daughter of Ole Kirk winning the Magic Millions. We graded a son of him last year. He came out and won a Group 3 on debut. So we thought we went to the sales approaching it this year, wanting to find the most precocious types by that stallion that we could find. I thought we found a lovely style of filly here. She's probably a little bit neater than those first couple of fillies that you've seen come out before, but that's very much in line with I think the progeny of the stallion, what we've seen across the board, what we saw last year. I think Ole Kirk herself, if you saw her parade, she was a nice, neat but balanced style of filly. Out of a well-performed mare who actually sort of got out a little bit in trip, so a bit like Bruce was saying, out of the last colt that we saw there, you'd expect this filly, she's got the physical attributes that we'd like to see her performing early for you. But I think even on the stallion side, Ole Kirk, he was a very good 1,400 metre to 1,600 metre horse. So I think whatever she can do at 2, you're only going to see the best of her as she trains on it at 3. But she's off a farm in New Haven Park who we've just had continued success, and made it sound like we're repeating ourselves, but it's a great formula. We go back to where we've had a lot of success from. Our 2-year-old runner this year in the Magic Millions was off that farm, which she was purchased for $60,000. This filly again, in terms of the sale average, I thought was still very good value. Even though she's a neater style of filly, she looks like she's got a big action, the way she carries herself and the way she covers the ground. So can't wait to see her. I know she's under saddle now, but I can't wait to see her once she steps out on the track or once Johnny sort of picks up the pace and asks a little bit more from her, I think she'll be very, very efficient in the way she covers the ground and uses herself.
Ole Kirk is probably the most exciting young stallion going around at present. Obviously, as Adrian mentioned, Ole finished second in the gym crack and came out and won the Magic Millions 2-year-old classic last week.
The thing we loved about Kim Kirk was he's just such a lovely, lovely mover. And this filly was the same on the parades. She was highly marked right across the board. Every single one of our team gave her a really high mark.
And very much in the mould of his sire in Britain Tycoon, but great size and great scope to him. Got some great length. Plenty of quality about him. I love the way he just strode out there and just took it all in. And, very athletic style of horse. The Written Tycoons can have that little bit more scope, a little bit more leg. From the successful ones that we've seen, he very much looks to be in that physical mould for us. He's, as I said, out of that mare that was very, very tough. So had a lot of luck on both fronts, but he's only going to continue to furnish for us. I think he's got that lovely frame, size and scope about him. He's just going to keep improving throughout the breaking process, I would say.
Adrian mentioned Lady of Camelot, obviously by Written Tycoon. She too is out of a Fastnet Rock mare, so it's in the exact same cross.
This Colts by a side team that could do a Stormboy cross. You know, this is a guy that could, in 12 months' time, be worth, 10, 100 times what we paid for him as a yearling. And that sounds crazy, but that's what this game can do. He's by Written Tycoon, the sire of Ole Kirk, capitalist, written by, he's getting a real name from his side. The studs are chasing his Group 1. He's a stallion, Written Tycoon. He started from very humble beginnings, $4,000 eventually ended up standing in the Hunter Valley, where on the back of the good mares he got there, like My True Love, and the good breeders, he started like Private Life, Captured by Love, Southpaw Tycoon, was our very own Lady Camelot, who couldn't gather, like he's just gone to another level of on the back of the quality mare Written Tycoon has. Really impressive physical, this horse. He's just got awesome hind leg, great tension through his pasterns, got size and strength, and I love the confidence and the perhaps insight you get when buying from Dan that has been trained in the stable. Like Adrian said, My True Love is a top class mare that maybe, even though she's good placed, reads not as well as she actually was. So you've got that insight, and it allows you to get that little bit of extra value at the sales. It was very much the same for Lady of Camelot and Platinum Jubilee. Gay and Adrian trained their mother, Miss Debutante. She, of course, by Fastnet Rock, the stakes winner. But Gay and Adrian, I remember when we bought Platinum Jubilee, said she was a lot better than her Paige Reed. And My True Love, well, she was exactly the same. She's a lot better than that Paige Reed. He's a big, big hope, this horse, at an awesome price point.